This episode is sponsored by UPMC Altoona Elite Orthopedics. UPMC Altoona Elite Orthopedics is proud to support youth sports across our region and proud to sponsor the 2023 high school football preview on the Altoona Mirror YouTube channel. To learn more about their board-certified orthopedic surgeons and the wide range of orthopedic conditions they treat, or to schedule an appointment in one of their facilities in Hollidaysburg or Bedford, visit upmcaltoona.com/ortho or call 814-889-3600.
You know what? I was thinking, like, I'm actually going to bring a drink this week.
To match my drink.
Yeah, you guys have drink.
You
know what?
Absolutely.
It's warm.
You know why it's warm?
What's the point?
Because we don't have a mini fridge.
What?
We thought we had a mini fridge. Last week I came in. Dan will show a picture of it. There was a mini fridge on Andy's desk next to my desk. I thought it was a hard drive because I got a new computer. And it was a mini fridge, and it had water in it, and had a note on it. And Neil Rudell, our managing editor, sat there and said, "Scotty, yeah, some guy and the lady brought it up on a dolly." I was so excited. I had my photo taken. I was telling everybody around. I called my wife and them and go, "We got a mini fridge. There was water already in it." Mike saw it. Mike, what was Mike? You remember what you said your first
I
thing?
was going to ask for $1 million.
Mike was mad going, "Geez, if we knew that, I would have asked for money." Andy was excited. I made him cover his eyes when he brought it in. And
held
then,
my hand across the office.
Yeah, I held his hand across the office so he wouldn't bump into anything. And then we find out later that Neil Rudell played a joke on us. It was a mini fridge from downstairs in the conference room here at the Mayor, and it wasn't ours. And I'm like, "Well, can't we at least keep it and put it on the show?" And he's like, "No, you have to put it back tonight."
It was a good joke, though.
And then I just felt bad. And even the guy, I wasn't mad, I felt sad. Because I thought we got a mini fridge, and now Mike's water will be all warm on the floor here for the rest of our show. So we're going to try and do a show here for you. So I don't know. Hello again, everybody, and welcome to Week 6 of the high school football season here on Mirror TV on the YouTube channel, and not only just the YouTube channel, but Altoona Public Access, Channel 13, which we are now on for the second week, and we're going to try and talk louder so that make sure that everybody can hear us. I am joined again, as I have always been for 4 years with Mike here, Mike Boydham, our high school football guru. Andy Stein, since last year, Andy?
Since last year.
Since 2 years of high school football. Guru number 2. We are going to go right into it because we have 5 games to talk about, and then our usual stuff at the end. The first game we're going to talk about, Central Cambria 3-2 at Chestnut Ridge 5-0. How good is it? Did you think Chestnut Ridge would be 5-0 at this point?
Well, they've impressed, and they won their out-of-division games. When I looked at the divisions, I felt like Chestnut Ridge had a good chance to have the best record in their division, and I think that the Blitz coach has also voted them as the top team. What I didn't really foresee is that they really put a pounding on Bedford last week, which we thought, you could throw the records out on that one and that Bedford would be really motivated in that game. But Chestnut Ridge still handled them pretty well. And then you got Central Cambria, who had been playing really good defense. They were hanging in that game against Penn Cambria, but then Penn Cambria pulled away. So this is going to be another opportunity for them to try to step up. They started season 3-1, and now their competition's gotten a little bit harder. They need to be able to knock off some of these higher tier teams to really prove that they're here to stay under new coach Don Fight.
Yeah, and I'm curious, like when you would have a big game with Mo Valley when you played your high school days, and then you lost a game that you really thought you had a chance to win, how hard was it then to get ready next week for a 5-0 team?
Yeah, that reminds me of my sophomore year at Mo Valley. We were 6-0 going into Juniata Valley week. Juniata Valley was really good that year. Juniata Valley whooped us, and it kind of spiraled out of control for us at Mo Valley. So I hope that isn't the case here. Like I keep saying every week, though, high school kids are resilient. They should, if that does happen, they should bounce back.
And speaking of bounce back, great segue word there, Andrew. Bishop Guilfoyle 3-2, hosting Tyrone 2-3. And real quick, get it out of the way. I picked Tyrone this week, Beachy alumni who are watching the show. Yay! He's my brother. I'll pick him against anybody but the Dolphins. I'd pick him against anybody, even if he was playing the terrible Chicago Bears or that New Mexico State team in Division I college football or UMass. I'd pick John Franco. But anyways, BG.
Wait, did you pick Central to beat them?
I picked Central. Well, that's because I knew Central had a really good offense. I'm trying to win here, too. But I will always pick
inconsistent, but that's all right.
Yeah, that's right. Anyways, Michael, I don't know, do you have this game on Friday night?
No, I'm actually covering the first game we talked about, Central Cambria and Chestnut
Well, Bishop Guilfoyle has to bounce back after a tough loss in overtime to Central. What can you tell us about this matchup?
Well, right now there's no one. Tyrone's coming off their best win of the season, obviously. Not only, I think we all expected them to beat Bellwood, but I don't think anybody expected them to completely shut down Alex McCartney, who only had 52 yards rushing on 18 carries. Tyrone, if you can have a defense that can stop the run like they did, fill in those gaps, that's what Coach Franco really came away. Ashton walked through for 250 yards. That's impressive. Weaver had over 150 yards receiving and everything. But Andy knows as well as I do, offensive and defensive lines are the key to football, and these top 4 guys that were in the defensive line for Tyrone last week were filling those holes. And if BG can't run the ball against Tyrone has a chance to be in this game, I think.
As far as you see that there's numbers in the paper from Saturday morning that BG had more yardage than Central.
Yeah.
And Tyrone did not have more yardage. Central. Can't you just look at that and go, BG's going to win this game?
I was going to say, yeah, you could say that. And, hey, we talked about last week, too. Tyrone, the game against Bellwood, it can be one of those season turnaround victories for one of those teams. It was Tyrone, and I don't know if that's going to happen here. BG's going to be tough, but Tyrone, nice win. I think they're going to get back on track here in the second half of the season.
And as far as not thinking that Tyrone could win this game, last week we sat in this office and kept getting scores that 0-4 West Branch was beating 4-0 Juniata Valley. And we thought they were typos. Yeah. And we needed somebody. We didn't have anybody covering. Did we have somebody at the game? They weren't just sending us notes.
Somebody else covered it.
I'll talk about that later,
though.
I would like to point out, though, that, Scott, you always talk about teams being mad.
I didn't even get to bring it up. BG should be mad.
BG, I can confirm, they are mad.
Yeah, they are mad.
Very mad about a lot of stuff that happened in
at
that
the end of that game. Yep.
And I feel like if you are ever worried about a team being mad, BG is a team that will be mad.
I can make Tyrone equally mad. Their 2 wins are over 2 teams that are a combined 0-10.
Yeah.
But I looked at before Mike and I and Andy went on the air, and I just thought, ooh, wonder if BG will look at that and go, they've only beaten 2 0-5 teams. But hey, we'll find out Friday night. Our next game, and a nice story here possibly happening with Claysburg Kimmel. Southern Huntington 0-5 at Claysburg Kimmel 2-3. they have a real nice chance. When's the last time, in your memory, they've been 3-3 at this point?
There were a couple years under Coach Bilczek that they were above 500, and they made the playoffs there a while. But, I'll be honest. Well, going into this season, I did not expect much out of Claysburg. They had a first-year coach, and I wasn't really sure where they stacked up in the ICC. But they've not only gotten a couple nice wins. I mean, you just talked about West Branch beating Juniata Valley. Claysburg hammered West Branch.
Yeah.
And then they put up a big number against Kerwinsville last week, and now they have a chance to win this week against the Southern Huntington team that, let's be frank, is just really struggling this year. They're struggling to replace Nate Myers and haven't really hit their stride.
And a lot of injured kids.
Yeah, they had that first game, a lot of injuries against Northern Bedford, and they just haven't really recovered from that. So this is a great chance for Claysburg to get to 3-3. And, they have some young players. I was actually talking to Coach Bilczek, who's now with Portage, up at the Portage game I covered a few weeks ago. And he was saying, he's like, we saw that we had some talent there. He's like, I feel like, I maybe should have played them a little bit more last year. But these guys are now playing, and they're putting up some big numbers. And, I think it's impressive what Claysburg's able to do, because I can be honest, I'm one of the people that doubted whether they'd win more than 2 games this year, and they've already got to.
And Claysburg had to go. You were familiar with where Kerwinsville is.
Yeah.
That's a road trip for one.
I bet that's like an hour and a half, I bet, from Claysburg. That's not an easy
to go up there and come back, like a young team like that. That had to be impressive as well.
And they hung 55 on Kerwinsville. Yeah. I mean, good
on their field.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's not an easy place to play. It's kind of an interesting field. That's pretty impressive for Claysburg. They got a good chance to get to 500. That's good to see.
They don't have giant rocks in the end zone or anything.
Well, I think Kerwinsville's bleachers are built into a kind of a mountain type thing. It's right next to a river in Kerwinsville too. It's an interesting layout there.
Because when I was little, we played parochial league football at St. Patrick's in Newry. They had their own field, but you couldn't use the one end zone because there was a rock in it. So you had to always go towards the other end zone. Yeah. Because even if you intercepted and took the ball back, you couldn't run to the side where the rock was. Anyways, speaking of teams that might end up in the end zone quite a lot, Westinghouse 4-0 at Hollidaysburg 2-2. Now this was a game when I did the record at the beginning of the year. I predicted Hollidaysburg was going to win. I didn't pick them this week because I was told by a writer that this Westinghouse team is pretty good. What are you hearing about them?
Well, for years we were all kind of like, Westinghouse. I mean, sometimes they do okay in the Pittsburgh City League, but when they play the District 5 teams and everything in the playoffs, it would get ugly. But I've been told that they have a new coaching staff there over the past few years that have really gotten things under control there, and that they have more consistency. They have just a lot of balance to the program, and it has developed. I mean, obviously last year they went to the Hawaii States, and they have really been able to solidify that program. Now, with that said, if Hollidaysburg's healthy, Drew Weiland, I think they removed him for precautionary purposes last week. I remember reading in the story, but he's a key. I mean, Andy saw Drew in the first game of the year against Altoona have a huge game, and he needs to be healthy for Hollidaysburg to have a shot.
As far as the Westinghouse thing, did they sit there and see the film of that Hollidaysburg Fort Hill game and sit there and think, oh my gosh, we could just do the same thing, because that's all they do is run.
Wouldn't spread.
I think Westinghouse is probably going to run a lot too.
And I want to say Westinghouse is probably. I think they're a AA school too. I think they played Berlin last year in that District 5 game, and I think Berlin was probably the best team in District 5 last year, and I think they totally hammered them. So, but I think with this game, I mean, I think Hollidaysburg's going to have their hands full for sure. I mean, you can look at it as a AA school against a 5A school, but hey, that doesn't really matter when it comes down to it. But Westinghouse definitely has some talent there.
Our last game we're going to look at, Altoona 2-3 at Harrisburg 4-1. And for the Altoona people who are watching, can you give them any strand of information that might give Altoona a chance? Because I thought Altoona was going to beat Central Dauphin Eastside. I mean, I just didn't even think, and then I was stunned when I saw that final score.
Well, Harrisburg did lose a game this year. They lost to Manheim Township. It was a rather lopsided score, in fact, but Manheim Township's undefeated. They're a very good team. I think Altoona needs to just work on getting back into what they do and trying to find some consistency because, even though they're not a high-powered offense, they can't. What did they score 7 points last week?
28-7. I think they scored in the first quarter. It was like 7-7.
That sounds right.
And then I think that's it. They didn't
and
score.
that's what they did against
Yeah.
State College too, going right down the field, getting a touchdown. They need to move beyond this, first drive scoring and they've gotten off to good starts, honestly, in every game except the Hollidaysburg game, in which they got off to a poor start. But they have to finish games better. Coach Niedermeyer talks about at the beginning of the season, you're as healthy as you're ever going to be. Well, they need to do something to get this turned around because the schedule doesn't get any easier. These teams like Harrisburg are going to be what they see the rest of the year, and then we all know they'll be seeing State College again probably in the postseason. So
you talk about high school kids being creatures of habit and they're resilient and stuff like that.
Yeah.
How much are they going to hate playing a Saturday afternoon 1 o'clock game? Because I got to think they're going to be leaving. That's about 2 hour trip.
Probably 2 hours. Yeah. So you're talking about leaving Altoona here early in the morning on Saturday. And I got to be honest, my freshman year in college, I had a rough time adjusting playing from Friday nights all the time and then playing mostly on Saturday afternoon. Every once in a while we play on Saturday night, but yeah, I always never really liked the Saturday afternoon games in high school. Or I don't think I ever played on Saturday afternoon in high school. It's going to be quite an adjustment for Altoona, and it's one of those things you're going to be ready to go, right from the start.
I'm sure you were getting to sleep at 8 p.m. Friday night and making sure you got a real nice night of sleep.
Then watching Friday night videos, was that still a big thing?
Lights off at 11. That was the thing. Lights off at 11 on the night before a game. Sometimes that happened, sometimes it did.
And hey, for Altoona fans, at least one good thing is down in Harrisburg, you stop at an Aruga's, you can get a crab pretzel. Trust me, it's worth it.
Not the team, but the reporters who cover the game.
Well, the fans could go there before
the fans
after
could go
the game.
too.
It's like a
Yes.
lunchtime game.
Yes, you can. And now we go to the fun part of our show, at least in my head, it's fun. We're going to start with Mike's Stat of the Week. What do you have for us, Guru Boydum?
Well, we are halfway through the season. The regular season is half over, so just was going to go down a couple things here real quick. First of all, the top teams in each classification, District 6 right now, we got State College at 6A, Hollidaysburg at 5A, Juniata at 4A, Central at 3A, Bald Eagle area at 2A, and Purchase Line at 1A, halfway through the season. We only have 4 teams in District 6 left that are undefeated. Bald Eagle area, Richland, United Valley, and Central. And then we have 2 teams in District 5 that are undefeated, Northern Bedford and Chestnut Ridge. Now, one thing I want to say about the undefeated teams here. United Valley is undefeated. I would have never guessed that, and I don't think many people out there would, because United and Blacklick Valley, it's a co-op, and they haven't had a ton of success either school. I don't even think their coach thought maybe that, because then when I talked to him in the preseason, he was like, well, we have to do it. It makes me nervous. But our Blitz magazine, the coaches all picked them to win the Heritage Conference, so that's just another reason to get the Blitz magazine.
I was really waiting for him to stop talking so I could give that free plug in there. I hope our advertising is watching us, that Mike and I are still thinking about Blitz here in week 6 of the high school football season.
Yeah.
Okay, now Andy's line of the week, which Andy never tells. He does not disclose that information. He keeps it a secret, literally, till we go into this conference room. What do you have for our line? Andy's line of the week.
Short steps. Short steps are better than long steps.
Okay. West Branch. You are my line of the week this week. We touched on them earlier. 38-0 win. They were 0-4. They beat a 4-0 Juniata Valley 38-0. That was impressive. And it's a lesson for all you kids out there. Maybe you guys are struggling this year. Hey, on Friday night, that shouldn't matter. Do what West Branch did. go out there and get 212 rushing yards. I could have picked West Branch's defensive line. They held Juniata Valley to 92 yards of total offense. Just outstanding for those guys. Their left tackle is Ryan Wood. Their left guard, Dakota Layback, I think. Sorry, I can't read my writing. Center, Austin Karen. Right guard, Scott Smeal. Right tackle, Noah Amy. Their tight end, I was told that they don't run a tight end very much, but when they do, it's Luke Liptak. One of those guys was also their homecoming king at halftime, which, hey.
Again, you love that with a lineman.
Absolutely, yeah.
But again, he's right about the whole, because we talked about a shout out to West Branch, and I know we don't cover them per se, but they play through our area.
Yeah.
Anybody on there like Altoona, if Vince Niedermeyer went to sit there and go, look at this, an 0-4 team, and I don't think I'm being over dramatic here. High school sports, you don't see that. You don't see 0-4 teams beat 4-0 teams. It's just nobody.
It's outstanding.
If I was told right before the game that's going to happen, he'd be like, okay, you're drunk. You're not allowed to pageant me tonight.
I don't know that I would say that.
Well, he might think it, maybe not say it. But I just think that's just
outstanding for West Branch. And that's a rival for Mo Valley.
And a quick note, the last time I covered a Juniata Valley West Branch game, there was a streaker.
Who won, though? Who won?
Juniata Valley won.
Okay. But not the people who got to see the streaker either. I don't think
they all lost.
There were no winners that night, folks.
I would have rooted for them.
There you go. But speaking of winners, this week's winners for the Cool Name segment for Week 6.
I wanna know what's the name of the game.
We're going to start first with Penn Cambria sophomore, and I just love, this sounds like a name from literature, Dane Somerville. Dane Somerville, he's a sophomore. And then this one, you even said, I know Mike doesn't like anything.
I know.
Gus Warfel. How many kids nowadays are named Gus?
Is that Danny's?
I think Gus is a guy who's in his 70s. He's bowling at the Bavarian Hall on a Tuesday night throughout Christmas time by himself. But this kid's a Forest Hills junior, Gus Warfel.
Just call this kid a 70-year-old?
No, Gus, well, Andy goes, boy, Gus sounds like the name of an old guy who's 45.
Yeah.
45 is old. I'm 58. I must be ancient.
I'm only like 10 years away from that.
If Andy thinks 45 is old.
I know. I got to think what I say sometimes.
But anyways, and also real quick, because last week I said Carson Long kicked for Penn State. He did not. He kicked for Pitt. And my agent, our agent, Buzzy Rudell, Neil's cousin, pointed out to us that we're not going to get a lot more advertising and other networks to put our show on if I keep flubbing stuff like that. But that's going to do it for this week. So we're going to rip this stuff up and burn it now. For Mike Boydum, for Andy Stein, for our Uber producer behind the camera, Dan, thank you for watching. We'll see you guys again next week.